Okay, so we have an example here of a lump sum asset purchase. Let's walk through that. So what's going to happen, it says Pearson purchased land having current market value of $95,000, a building with a market value of $76,000, and equipment with a market value of $19,000. Journalize the lump sum purchase of the three assets purchased for a total of $150,000 in exchange for a note payable. Okay, so we have to allocate those based on their current market values. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and list those out. So we have land, and it says its market value is $95,000. Then we have a building for $76,000 and equipment for $19,000. So we're going to add all three of those together. Alright, that looks like $190,000 total. So we're going to now have to figure out what percentage each one of those is. So if we take, for example, the land, I'm going to write it down here, $95,000 current market value divided by the total of all three, $190,000, that should give us 50%. And we can do the same for each of those. So buildings would be 76 divided by the 190,000, which is 40%, and the equipment, which is 19,000 divided by 190,000, 10%. Okay, so then we've got buildings and equipment. Okay, so now that we've got our percentages, 50, 40, and 10, we just multiply that times the actual purchase price. So if they cost, all three of them, $150,000, 50% times $150,000 will tell me that my land is, or has a value of $75,000. Buildings has a value then of 40%, and equipment will have a value of $15,000. Hopefully, if I did it correctly and we add all those together, we get a total of $150,000. Now, it's really important to make sure we do that properly so we know how much to allocate to each particular asset. So if we flip here to the next slide, this is a lot cleaner than what I just showed you, but you can see down here then that the land, this is the same calculations that I just ran through. And for our journal entry then, we're going to debit land for the $75,000. We will debit building for the $60,000, and we'll debit equipment for the $15,000, crediting our notes payable for the entire $150,000. This is really important again because remember, we're not going to depreciate the land, we're only depreciating the buildings and equipment, so we need to make sure we allocate that cost appropriately to each of those items.